Hello, I'm SA, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
The latter half of the 19th century witnessed a seismic shift in the global economic and social order across continents. The relentless march of industrialization reshaped landscapes, redefined human labor, and concentrated unprecedented wealth in the hands of a select few. This era presented a complex array of societal challenges, the stark realities of poverty existing alongside burgeoning fortunes, the complex renegotiation of the relationship between capital and labor, and the rapid, often chaotic, growth of urban centers. It was within this crucible of immense change that Andrew Carnegie forged his remarkable path, a journey from humble Scottish origins to the apex of industrial power. Born in Dunfermline, Scotland, in 1835, Carnegie's early life was steeped in the traditions of a skilled artisan community that was itself grappling with the encroaching forces of mechanization. His father, William Carnegie, was a linen weaver, a craftsman whose livelihood was increasingly threatened by the advent of power looms. This personal experience of displacement and the struggle for economic security would echo throughout Carnegie's life, imbuing him with a profound understanding of the precariousness of labor and the relentless pressure to adapt. The family's fortunes declined, compelling them to seek a new beginning across the Atlantic. In 1848, at the age of 13, young Andrew Carnegie arrived in Allegheny City, Pennsylvania, a burgeoning industrial hub that offered a stark contrast to the pastoral beauty of his homeland. America, in this period, was a land of immense opportunity, but also one of profound hardship. The nation was on the cusp of a dramatic transformation, driven by innovation in manufacturing, transportation, and communication. Yet, for many immigrants and the working classes, this progress came at a significant human cost. The problems of the time were palpable: overcrowded tenements, long working hours, meager wages, and the constant threat of unemployment. The very fabric of society was being rewoven by the demands of a new industrial economy. Carnegie's initial foray into the American workforce was as a bobbin boy in a cotton mill, a position that demanded long hours and offered little respite. This experience, though brief, further solidified his awareness of the toil and limited prospects faced by many. However, his sharp intellect and insatiable curiosity quickly propelled him beyond such rudimentary labor. His aptitude for quick learning and his inherent drive led him to a position as a messenger boy in the Pittsburgh office of the Ohio Telegraph Company. This role proved to be a pivotal turning point in an era where the telegraph was a cutting edge of rapid communication, akin to the internet today. Carnegie immersed himself in the intricacies of the burgeoning communication network. He learned to operate the telegraph, absorbing the technical knowledge and the operational demands of the business with remarkable speed. It was within the telegraph industry that Carnegie encountered a crucial mentor, Thomas A. Scott, the superintendent of the Pennsylvania Railroad's Western Division. Scott recognized the young man's potential, his diligence, and his innate grasp of logistics and efficiency. Scott became a formative influence, guiding Carnegie's understanding of large-scale operations, the importance of infrastructure, and the strategic management of complex enterprises. Carnegie's work with Scott involved not merely relaying messages, but understanding the flow of goods, the coordination of labor, and the critical role of timely information in the efficient operation of a vast railroad network. He learned to anticipate needs, solve immediate problems, and grasp the interconnectedness of different operational components. This period was an informal but profound education in the practicalities of industrial management, teaching him the value of meticulous attention to detail and the power of organized systems. Carnegie's early career was characterized by a relentless pursuit of knowledge and an entrepreneurial spirit that saw opportunities where others saw only obstacles. He demonstrated an early aptitude for identifying inefficiencies and proposing improvements. His ability to quickly master new technologies and operational methods, coupled with his sharp business acumen, set him apart. He understood that in the rapidly industrializing world, those who could master the logistics of production, transportation, and communication would command immense influence and wealth. The problems of coordinating vast resources and labor forces across significant distances were being solved through new organizational structures and technological advancements, and Carnegie was an eager student and participant in this evolution. His early successes, such as his investment in the Woodruff Sleeping Cart Company, demonstrated a keen foresight and a willingness to take calculated risks. He saw the potential for innovation in passenger travel, a sector directly linked to the expanding railroad network, and his involvement provided him with valuable insights into capital investment and the management of diversified assets. The fundamental challenge of the period was to scale up production and distribution to meet the demands of a growing nation in an expanding global market. This required mastering the complexities of logistics, finance, and human capital. Carnegie's experiences in the telegraph and railroad industries provided him with a unique perspective on these interwoven challenges. He witnessed firsthand how efficient communication and transportation could unlock immense economic potential. He learned that success in industry was not solely about invention, but about the systematic application of resources, the meticulous organization of labor, and the strategic control of key infrastructure. The principles of operational efficiency and the strategic importance of controlling essential services nascent in these early roles would form the bedrock of his later industrial empire. His immersion in the practical problems of moving information and goods laid the groundwork for his understanding of how to move materials and manufacture products on an unprecedented scale. The efficiency he cultivated in his early career was a direct response to the economic pressures and opportunities of the time, shaping a mindset that would later define his approach to steel production and beyond. The formidable edifice of Carnegie Steel rose from a landscape reshaped by the relentless demands of a rapidly industrializing America. Andrew Carnegie, having navigated the intricate arteries of the railroad and telegraph industries, possessed an acute understanding of the interconnectedness of infrastructure and economic power. He had observed that the true engine of progress lay not merely in invention, but in the systematic orchestration of resources, the efficient deployment of human capital, and the strategic mastery of essential supply chains. These foundational insights, forged in the crucible of early industrial expansion, provided the intellectual scaffolding for his audacious vision of a steel empire. The era presented a complex web of challenges for any industrialist seeking to dominate the production of steel, the very sinew of modern civilization. The voracious appetite of the burgeoning railroad network for rails, the construction boom demanding structural beams, and the burgeoning machinery sector all fueled an insatiable demand. Yet the procurement of raw materials, iron ore, coal, and limestone, was a geographically dispersed and logistically demanding undertaking. Securing access to these vital components, controlling their transportation, and then efficiently transforming them into finished products represented a monumental feat of organization. Market competition was fierce, characterized by fluctuating prices, the constant threat of technological obsolescence, and the sheer scale of capital investment required to remain competitive. Carnegie's response to these formidable obstacles was a masterclass in strategic foresight and operational excellence. He championed the principle of vertical integration, a concept that would become synonymous with his business acumen. This involved acquiring or controlling every stage of the production process, from the mines that yielded the ore and coal to the ships and railroads that transported them, to the furnaces and mills that forged the steel, and finally to the distribution networks that delivered the finished product. By internalizing these diverse operations, Carnegie effectively insulated his company from the volatility of external suppliers and transportation costs. He could dictate the flow of materials, optimize production schedules, and achieve economies of scale that were simply unattainable for less integrated competitors. The Edgar Thomson Steel Works, established in 1875, became the tangible manifestation of this philosophy, a state-of-the-art facility designed for maximum output and efficiency, situated strategically near raw material sources and transportation hubs. Horizontal consolidation also played a pivotal role in Carnegie's ascent. He recognized the power of consolidating smaller, less efficient steel producers, thereby eliminating redundant capacity and gaining greater market share. This strategy allowed him to standardize production methods, leverage his purchasing power for raw materials and equipment, and present a unified, formidable front to the market. The relentless drive for cost reduction was a constant imperative. Carnegie instilled a culture of meticulous attention to detail, scrutinizing every aspect of the production process to identify opportunities for savings. This extended to labor, where he sought to maximize worker productivity through efficient management and incentive systems, though this often led to significant friction with his workforce. The pursuit of efficiency was not merely an economic goal, it was an ideological commitment to the principle that waste was an affront to progress. It was against this backdrop of immense industrial power and wealth accumulation that Carnegie articulated his philosophy of the gospel of wealth. The unprecedented concentration of capital in the hands of a few industrialists like himself presented a profound societal challenge: how to reconcile immense personal fortunes with the persistent needs of a society still grappling with poverty, inequality, and the social dislocations brought by industrialization. Carnegie, reflecting on the prevailing anxieties about the vast disparities in wealth, proposed a distinctive solution. He believed that the wealthy had a moral obligation to administer their fortunes during their lifetime for the benefit of the community. This was a stewardship, a responsibility to use accumulated capital for the public good, rather than simply bequeathing it to heirs who might squander it or allowing it to remain idle. His essay, The Gospel of Wealth, published in 1889, laid out this vision with compelling clarity. He argued that the law of competition, while often harsh, ultimately served society by identifying the most capable individuals and channeling their energies into productive enterprises. This process, he contended, generated the wealth that could then be judiciously reinvested for the betterment of all. The problem, as he saw it, was not the existence of great wealth, but its administration. The wealthy man, in Carnegie's view, was a trustee entrusted with a mandate to improve the condition of his fellow man. His unique solution was to advocate for a form of active, engaged philanthropy, one that involved the direct involvement of the benefactor in guiding the use of their wealth, fostering self-improvement, and providing opportunities for the less fortunate. This was a far cry from passive charity. It was a call for strategic investment in human potential and societal infrastructure. The modern relevance of Carnegie's Gospel of Wealth resonates powerfully in contemporary discussions surrounding corporate social responsibility and the role of philanthropy in addressing societal needs. Debates continue regarding the equitable distribution of wealth generated by industrial and technological advancements. The question of whether and how the exceptionally wealthy should contribute to the public good and the most effective mechanisms for doing so remain central to public discourse. Carnegie's emphasis on providing opportunities for self-improvement, such as access to education and cultural resources, offers a framework for understanding the enduring impact of philanthropic initiatives that aim to empower individuals and communities. His philosophy implicitly challenged the notion that wealth accumulation was an end in itself, positing instead that its ultimate validation lay in its contribution to collective progress and the elevation of the human condition. This perspective continues to inform the strategies and ethical considerations of foundations and individuals dedicated to making a lasting positive impact on the world. The principles he espoused, born from the specific context of late 19th century industrial capitalism, offer enduring insights into the perennial tension between private prosperity and public well-being. Having amassed an extraordinary fortune to the formidable engine of Carnegie steel, Andrew Carnegie turned his formidable intellect and boundless energy toward a different kind of construction, the architecture of public good. His transition from industrial titan to dedicated philanthropist marked a profound reorientation of purpose, driven by a conviction that immense wealth carried an equally immense responsibility. The sale of Carnegie steel in 1901 to J.P. Morgan for a sum that reshaped the financial landscape provided him with the capital and the temporal freedom to enact the principles he had articulated in his Gospel of Wealth. This was not a retirement in the conventional sense, but rather a strategic deployment of his resources towards societal uplift, focusing on systemic investments rather than transient aid. Carnegie's philanthropic vision was characterized by a deep-seated belief in the power of education and access to knowledge as fundamental drivers of individual and societal progress. He saw the dissemination of learning and the cultivation of culture as the most potent tools for empowering citizens and fostering a more enlightened, peaceful world. This conviction materialized in a series of monumental initiatives, each designed to create enduring institutions that would continue to serve the public long after his passing. A cornerstone of this endeavor was the creation of public libraries. Carnegie's passion for libraries stemmed from his own humble beginnings, where access to books and learning was a lifeline. He understood that a well-stocked library, freely accessible to all, could be the powerful equalizer, offering opportunities for self-education and intellectual growth to individuals from all walks of life. The problem of limited access to information and educational resources in burgeoning industrial cities was a significant societal challenge. Carnegie's solution was to fund the construction of thousands of public libraries across the English-speaking world, predominantly in the United States, but also in Great Britain, Canada, and other nations. These were not mere book repositories. They were envisioned as community centers, hubs of learning, and democratic spaces. The scale of this undertaking was unprecedented. Between 1881 and 1909, Carnegie funded the construction of 186 teenage libraries in the United States alone, a significant proportion of the nation's library infrastructure at the time. The funding was contingent on local communities agreeing to provide ongoing support for maintenance and operations, fostering a sense of shared ownership and responsibility. This pragmatic approach ensured the sustainability of these institutions, embedding them within the civic fabric of the communities they served. The intellectual rigor behind this initiative lay in its understanding of the multiplier effect of knowledge. By providing the physical spaces and the collections, Carnegie aimed to unlock the potential of countless individuals, enabling them to pursue education, develop new skills, and engage more fully with the world around them. The legacy of these libraries is immeasurable, continuing to serve as vital centers of learning and community engagement in the 21st century, a testament to Carnegie's foresight in investing in human capital. Beyond libraries, Carnegie recognized the crucial role of higher education and scientific research in advancing civilization. He established the Carnegie Institute of Technology in Pittsburgh in the 1900s, a pioneering institution dedicated to providing technical and scientific training for aspiring engineers and industrialists. The prevailing educational systems of the era often lag behind the rapid advancements in science and technology, leaving a gap in skilled labor and innovative thinking. Carnegie's institute aimed to bridge this divide, offering a curriculum that blended theoretical knowledge with practical application. It was designed to cultivate the next generation of innovators, equipping them with the skills necessary to drive industrial progress and scientific discovery. The institute's focus on applied science and engineering reflected Carnegie's own journey, emphasizing the practical value of knowledge and its direct impact on economic and social development. Furthermore, Carnegie's commitment to intellectual exploration extended to the funding of pure research. The Carnegie Institution of Washington, founded in 1902 with a colossal endowment of $10 million, was established to foster scientific discovery and to encourage investigation into the fundamental laws of nature. This was a bold move, as it provided unrestricted funding for research, allowing scientists the freedom to pursue lines of inquiry without the immediate pressure of practical application or commercial viability. The institution became a crucial incubator for groundbreaking scientific work across a range of disciplines, from astronomy and physics to biology and archaeology. It supported ambitious projects, provided resources for scholars, and facilitated collaboration among leading minds. The problem it addressed was the often limited funding available for foundational scientific research, which, while essential for long-term progress, could be difficult to justify in purely economic terms. Carnegie's endowment provided a vital lifeline for this critical area, recognizing that true progress often emerges from the pursuit of knowledge for its own sake. Perhaps one of Carnegie's most visionary philanthropic endeavors was the establishment of the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace in 1910. This initiative was born from a profound conviction that war was a barbaric relic of the past and that humanity should actively work towards its abolition. The escalating tensions and conflicts in Europe leading up to the First World War deeply troubled him, and he believed that sustained, dedicated effort could foster understanding and prevent future conflagrations. The problem of international conflict, fueled by nationalism, economic rivalry, and a lack of effective diplomatic mechanisms, posed a persistent threat to global stability and human well-being. Carnegie's endowment aimed to address this by supporting research, advocating for arbitration, and promoting the development of international law and institutions. The endowment was endowed with $10 million, a sum intended to fund a continuing program of work dedicated to the abolition of war. Its mission was to study the causes of war, to promote the peaceful settlement of international disputes through arbitration, and to educate the public about the costs and futility of armed conflict. This was a radical concept for its time, challenging the prevailing acceptance of war as an inevitable aspect of international relations. Carnegie's approach was to foster a culture of peace through reasoned discourse, scholarly analysis, and the strengthening of international legal frameworks. The endowment supported numerous studies, conferences, and publications that sought to illuminate the path toward a more peaceful world. Its work laid important groundwork for the development of international organizations and diplomatic practices that would emerge in the decades to come, demonstrating a profound belief in the power of collective human reason to overcome ingrained patterns of conflict. Carnegie's philanthropic strategy was characterized by a deliberate focus on institutional building. He was not interested in simply distributing arms. He sought to create structures that would empower individuals and foster societal advancement in a sustainable manner. His endowments were designed to be self-perpetuating, providing the financial foundation for institutions to carry out their missions over generations. This approach reflected a deep understanding of the long-term nature of social progress. It required sustained investment in education, research, and international cooperation. A problem he consistently sought to solve was how to translate immense private wealth into lasting public benefit, and his answer lay in the creation of robust, well-funded institutions dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge, culture, and peace. These institutions, from the sprawling network of libraries to the research centers and peace initiatives, represent a tangible manifestation of his belief in the potential for enlightened human effort to shape a better future. His legacy is thus woven into the very fabric of our educational systems, our cultural institutions, and our ongoing pursuit of global harmony. The enduring impact of Andrew Carnegie's endeavors extends far beyond the gleaming steel that once defined industrial might, permeating the cultural and intellectual landscapes that shape our present. His philosophy of wealth, articulated with striking clarity in his later years, proposed a framework for the responsible stewardship of capital, a concept that continues to resonate in contemporary discussions of philanthropy and corporate social responsibility. The core of this philosophy centered on the idea that accumulated wealth carries a profound obligation, a duty to uplift society and foster progress. This was not a passive endorsement of charity, but an active mandate for the wealthy to engage directly in the betterment of humanity, employing their resources strategically to address societal needs. Carnegie's approach to philanthropy was distinguished by its emphasis on self-improvement and the creation of enduring institutions. He believed in providing the tools for individuals to help themselves rather than offering perpetual, unconditional aid. The vast network of public libraries, a testament to this conviction, stands as a monumental achievement. These institutions were conceived as engines of opportunity, democratizing access to knowledge and fostering lifelong learning across all strata of society. The problem they addressed was the historical exclusivity of education and intellectual resources, a barrier that had long constrained social mobility and limited the full realization of human potential. Carnegie's solution was to build accessible temples of knowledge, equipping them with books and resources, and, crucially, fostering a culture of community engagement. The architectural grandeur of many of these libraries, often designed to inspire awe and respect for learning, further underscored his vision of education as a transformative force beyond the libraries. Carnegie's endowments extended to institutions dedicated to scientific research and the advancement of arts and culture. The Carnegie Institution for Science, established in Washington, D.C., provided crucial financial support for groundbreaking investigations, enabling researchers to pursue ambitious projects that might otherwise have been hampered by limited funding. This commitment to fundamental research reflected in understanding that progress in any field is built upon a foundation of sustained inquiry and exploration. The problem here was the precarious financial existence of many researchers and the difficulty in securing long-term funding for ambitious, potentially paradigm-shifting, scientific endeavors. Carnegie's solution was to create a stable, independent source of support, allowing scientific minds to flourish and push the boundaries of human understanding. The impact of these grants, though often unheralded in popular discourse, has been profound, contributing to advancements across numerous scientific disciplines. Furthermore, Carnegie's vision encompassed the promotion of international peace, a particularly forward-looking aspect of his legacy given the turbulent geopolitical landscape of his era. The Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, founded with a substantial endowment, aimed to foster understanding and cooperation between nations, seeking to mitigate the causes of conflict and promote diplomatic solutions. The problem he grappled with was the recurring cycle of war and its devastating human and economic consequences. His solution involved establishing institutions dedicated to the study of international relations, the promotion of arbitration, and the cultivation of a global ethos of peaceful coexistence. This initiative represented a significant departure from the prevailing nationalistic sentiments of the time, demonstrating a profound belief in the possibility of organized, peaceful global interaction. The model of giving while living, a principle Carnegie championed, offers a compelling perspective on the ethical responsibilities of wealth accumulation. He advocated for the active and purposeful distribution of one's fortune during their lifetime, rather than bequeathing it entirely to heirs or posthumous trusts. This approach encouraged a direct engagement with societal challenges, allowing the benefactor to witness and guide the impact of their contributions. The problem this addressed was the potential for wealth to become a source of idleness or even corruption when passed down through generations without a clear purpose. Carnegie's solution was to imbue the act of giving with a sense of urgency and personal responsibility, transforming philanthropy from a passive act of inheritance into an active pursuit of social betterment. Evaluating the totality of Carnegie's influence necessitates a nuanced consideration of the complex interplay between his industrial practices and his philanthropic endeavors. The immense wealth that fueled his charitable foundations was generated through the steel industry, an enterprise characterized by its demanding labor conditions and robust, sometimes contentious, labor relations. The historical record includes significant disputes and hardships faced by the workforce that contributed to the building of his empire. A comprehensive understanding of his legacy requires acknowledging this duality, recognizing that the societal benefits derived from his philanthropy were inextricably linked to the economic realities of his industrial operations. The question of whether the immense social good he facilitated fully compensated for the struggles of those who toiled in his mills remains a subject of ongoing historical and ethical debate. Carnegie's philosophy of philanthropy, with its emphasis on self-help, education, and institutional longevity, has profoundly shaped the landscape of modern charitable giving. His endowments served as a blueprint for subsequent generations of philanthropists, establishing a paradigm for how significant private capital could be strategically deployed to create lasting public value. The enduring strength of institutions like the Carnegie Corporation of New York, the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, and the countless libraries bearing his name attests to the foresight and sustainability of his vision. These entities continue to operate, adapting to new challenges and opportunities, a testament to the foundational strength of this philanthropic architecture. In essence, Andrew Carnegie's life represents a compelling case study in the evolving relationship between industrial capitalism and social progress. He navigated the immense opportunities and inherent tensions of the Gilded Age, amassing a fortune through pioneering industrial practices, and then dedicating a significant portion of that wealth to what he termed the gospel of wealth. His belief that the wealthy had a moral obligation to use their fortunes for the common good, and his systematic implementation of this belief through far-reaching philanthropic initiatives, left an indelible mark on the world. His legacy is not simply one of industrial achievement or philanthropic generosity, but a complex, multifaceted narrative that continues to inform our understanding of wealth, responsibility, and the persistent human endeavor to build a more enlightened and equitable society. The questions he raised about the purpose of wealth and the mechanisms for its most effective deployment remain remarkably relevant, urging us to consider the enduring power of invested capital when guided by vision for collective human advancement.
We really appreciate you tuning into this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.